Hello, everybody. My name is Gavin Hudson, and today I'm hosting a presidential ticket Q&A, and today I'm joined by...
Emilie Jocson. I am an international relations major. I'm a third year, and I use she/they pronouns.
My name is Bashaar Allathkani. I am also an international relations major, and I use he/him pronouns.
What draws you to student politics?
So I used to do a lot of advocacy back in the Philippines, specifically queer advocacy, a little bit of climate justice on the side, gender equity. I used to be involved outside of campus a lot. So when I came here first at Sac State, I found out that they have a lot of channels open for political participation on campus, and it's also very diverse as to what you want to participate in, whether it be social justice or maybe like lobby corps or something. And I was like, hey, I'll give it a shot. It's pretty cool, and it's a whole different ballpark than what it is in the Philippines because it's pretty homogenous where I live. So try to get involved, try to give back also to the community in any way that I could.
Yeah, so I actually wasn't into student politics until last semester, and I started noticing a lot of issues going around on campus and just around our city as well. And for a school that I really like and the school that I owe to, I wanted to get involved. I wanted to learn and educate myself and give back however which way I could. And that's when I met Emily and we decided to do it together.
If you were to win the election, what are the main things you'd like to address/change?
So I think what I find really important is that we have a new president coming in. We don't know who they'll look like, what they are, but I feel like if, as president, it's crucial that I build a good relationship with this president because I will be representing the student body. So just making sure that I'm actively engaging with the administration and everything is like crucial as to like how everything goes, especially like information relay and like legislation. Those are the like two main things I'm mainly concerned about, and that's about it.
Yeah, for me, it's really the main thing I have is student stakeholder engagement. Although I have a lot more to talk about, this is what I'm really going to be pushing. It's undeniable to say that student stakeholder engagement has severely decreased since COVID, and student stakeholder engagement can be how students engage on campus in general, whether it's student government, clubs, extracurricular activities. In general, I just want students to feel engaged on campus, feel like they have something to do, like they belong, and they have their own strengths that they could use and experience and learn. And I want to kind of push students to get involved more, kind of show people what we have to offer, student government as well, and showing people what they can do. And that's kind of my main point.
How would you help address the growing problem of sexual assaults on campus?
Uh, I'd like to say that it's a little bit of a tough topic to talk about, and that's for sure. But I think it should be talked about, and we talked about it extensively, especially since she's really involved in what we've been doing on campus with it. But although we've heard a lot of people say, we should add more lights and whatnot, I do believe that is a good step forward. But in terms of how higher ed works, we would want to work with the office of the president a lot closely to work on things over time. It takes time to do this because how higher ed works, and we don't want to just kind of get into office, work on it a little bit, and then leave the next administration with nothing to work on. We want to keep a momentum going to where over time a change can actually happen.
For me, I definitely say making housing more safer because what I've noticed with most of the cases is that they happen in housing, whether it be in Hornet Commons, any of the freshman halls, or AMC. As a student living on campus housing, the fact that it's happened so frequently and within a short period of time, I feel like we could up the security, not necessarily like provide more guards, but perhaps lock a little bit more of like the side doors or something like that. Not only that, but just create like more discourse as to why it's happening, like especially in housing, and also just providing like a support system for survivors throughout the reporting process.
So what do you guys think is the biggest point of concern for students on campus?
Now, I think to me, it's at the moment how our campus like atmosphere is going. I know I talked about student stakeholder engagement, but it goes further to that. I want to work on making sure our campus is more DEI-J friendly and more compliant to that, pushing on that, making sure that students are accommodated for disabilities that aren't physical, focusing on mental health. Our school hasn't really talked about it much, and we have a lot of mental health problems. And I know we recently passed Senate Bill 11, but it's a good step forward. But we also, I believe, should focus on other alternatives, such as Timely MD, which could help students who can't reach a counselor, whether they're busy or it's nighttime and there's no counselors working at the moment. There's a lot more we can improve upon it, and I want to make sure our students feel safe and they're not left behind on campus. And I'll be working with other demographics such as student parents, veterans, to make sure that they're accommodated for.
Should I add? Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to also add, like, while Timely MD is a very like hotly contested thing, I do think you have to factor in accessibility. Not a lot of students, especially commuter school, can go on campus all of the time, and I feel like having that digital option of being able to access counseling online is pretty important. Aside from having tenured counselors.
All right. And down to our final question: why should students vote for you?
It's a very good question, and honestly, it's because we're not doing it for getting involved, like, or not getting involved, just like being a part of it. We're doing it for the students because we're students and we know what it's like to be on campus, and we want to make sure that every student has a place here on campus and that they feel like they're a part of it. We want to make sure no students are left behind, and it goes back to our slogan: we're one nest but many hornets. And so we want to make sure that every student feels involved, every student is accommodated for, and no one has anything to interrupt their education, and that they only grow here. And that's our main goal, and we want to make sure we can really drive that in and do good for the school.
Like for me, in my point of view, like as an international student, like coming here on campus, we have a ton of resources, but there's so many, and like the information relay is not always that streamlined. Not to mention, like, a lot of students can't really like access financial aid, especially for international students. We have to bear the brunt of all financial responsibility. But aside from being candidates, we are students first. So as much as possible, we kind of want to like bring in everyone together. It's a very diverse campus. Intersectionality of problems is a very big thing. And as students, we kind of want to bring that intersectionality to the table and try to address it in the best way we could.
This has been Gavin Hudson from the State Hornet. Elections will be held on April 12th and 13th. Stay tuned to our website for up-to-date election coverage.